Hello everyone, welcome to our podcast. Today we want to talk about superhero movies, but not the superhero who are always feel strong and brave or perfect. Instead, we want to talk about superhero who feel tired, confused, and sometimes emotionally broken. Before we start the discussion, let me introduce for our speakers today. First, we have Nabil. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Nasman. I'm happy to join this discussion.
Next, we have Dimas. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And last but not least, we have Yunus. Thanks for joining today.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad today to be part of this podcast.
All right, let's get started. I want to begin with a simple question for all of you. When you watch superhero movies today, how do you feel? Do you feel entertained like before, or do you feel like stories are more emotionally and heavy?
For me, superhero movies today feels more emotional. Sometimes they heavy and serious, but it's what makes them interesting and meaningful.
So the emotional side is what stays with you.
Yes, it feels more real for me.
I think I agree with Nabil. Recent superhero movies not just only for fun, but they also make us think about life, choices, and consequences.
So watching a superhero today are different.
Yes, it feels like the real life problem.
How about you?
I feel the same. Sometimes I even forget that they are superhero and they feel like normal people, ordinary people who are struggling with their own problem.
So they don't feel like distant, feel heroes anymore.
Exactly, they feel human.
Thanks for answering, Yunus. That already shows us something important. Superhero stories have really changed. They are no longer only about power and victory, but about emotion, struggles, and human experiences. And from here, let's move deeper into our discussion. And we move the segment of what is contemporary superhero fiction. Let's start from the basics. In simple words, what is contemporary superhero fiction, Nabil?
In simple words, contemporary superhero fiction is superhero stories that made for today's world. The heroes are not perfect anymore. They can feel tired, afraid, confused, and even hopeless. These heroes are not always sure about their choices. Sometimes they make mistakes, and sometimes they fail too.
So superheroes today are closer to normal people.
Exactly, it's very close.
All right.
They have trauma, guilt, and personal problems, just like us. They don't always know the right answer.
How about you?
I also agree with Nabil in older superhero stories. Heroes were just symbol of hope and certainty, and they know what was right and what was wrong. But today they were just asking about themselves, like they ask, "Am I doing the right thing?" And this is reflects how people feel in real life.
So the change is not only about story but also in mindset.
Yes, it shows that the world is more complex.
How about you, Yunus?
And that is why this hero is more relatable. They are not above us, they are not different of us. They also struggle, they also doubt and feel pain like normal people.
So people connect more easily with these characters.
Yes, because this hero represent of human experiences, not just power and strength.
Thanks for answering, Yunus.
Yeah.
Right. That is why many people feel connected to these characters. They didn't see superheroes as perfect idols anymore, but as reflection of real human experiences. And we move the next segment, social context and change. This change didn't happen by accident. Stories today didn't not suddenly become darker or more emotional. So, what changed in society influenced superhero stories today? How about you, Dimas?
I think
How
what
do
influenced superhero stories today, I think because today people like live with a lot of pressure.
Yes.
Young people worry about their
Alright.
education, their jobs, and their future. and there is also mental health issues, uncertainty, and social problems are everywhere. And because of this, it makes the story change, and superheroes are no longer calm and confident. They feel stressed, confused, and emotionally tired.
All right. So superheroes reflect how people feel today.
Yes, they are reflect our anxiety and pressure.
I agree with Dimas.
Yes.
We can clearly see this in Logan.
Okay.
The world in the film feels tired, broken, and hopeless.
Yes.
Logan himself is old, sick, emotionally
Alright.
exhausted. He's
Alright.
not fight to save the world anymore. He's just trying to survive.
So the world in Logan feels similar to real life.
Exactly. It feels like a world has lost its optimism.
Yunus, how about you in the film Batman? What kind of social context do you see there?
In the Batman, the city is dark and full of corruption.
Hmm.
There is crime and inequality and
Hmm.
injustice everywhere. This
Hmm.
reflects modern cities today, where social problems are complex and difficult to solve.
Hmm.
And Batman is not only fighting criminal, but he is fighting a broken system.
All right. So the villain is not just about one person.
Exactly. The villain and the real problem in the film is not just one person, but it's the system and society itself.
How about you?
And that makes the story heavier, show that social problems cannot be solved easily.
That's very interesting. Now, how about Big Hero 6? It feels different from the Logan and Batman, right?
Yes, because Big Hero 6 feel more brighter, but it still reflects modern society. The film talks about technology and innovation, and technology is everywhere in our lives today.
Right. But there is also sadness in the story.
Yes, beyond the technology, there is loss and grief. Hero lost his brother, and that pain shapes his journey.
How about you, Nabil?
I think Big Hero 6 shows a balance.
Hmm.
It shows hope
Mhm.
through technology, but it also reminds us that technology cannot remove emotional pain.
Mhm. How about you?
And that make it realistic. Even in heritage world, people still suffer emotionally.
All right. So if we look at these three films together, they show different phases of modern society. How about you?
A tired world in Logan.
How about you, Dimas?
Technological work with emotional loss in Big Hero 6.
And a dark, corrupt city in the Batman.
Right. Thanks for answering. All of them show that superhero stories today are shaped by social pressure, anxiety, and real world problems. That is why modern superheroes feel closer to us than ever before. And we move to the next segment, visual style and storytelling. Now, let's talk about how these films look. Why do superhero movies today look darker and more serious? Yunus.
Yes, because visual had so emotion. Logan looks dark and white, and the Batman uses shadow, rain, and darkness.
But Big Hero 6 is different. It's colorful, but the emotion are still deep.
Interesting, one genre but very different style.
Yes, because the focus is not winning fight, but it is about emotional journey.
And that makes the audience feel more involved. If we choose one main of theme of each film, what will it be? Let's start with Logan. Nabil.
In Logan, the main theme is aging and death. Logan is no longer young or strong. He feels sick. He feels tired. The emotional is completely broken. What makes this interesting is that Logan must accept his limits. He realized that he cannot fight forever. This makes the story is very human.
So Logan is not afraid of enemies anymore, but afraid his own experience weakness.
Yes, he is afraid with his own weakness. The real struggle is inside him, not outside.
How about you?
I feel the same. I agree with Navin. Logan feel like someone who is
Hmm?
reaching the end of his life journey.
Hmm?
That is very different from classic superhero stories.
Now let's move to Big Hero 6. What is main theme in here?
Maybe Euro 6 talks about loss and healing because Euro loses his brother and that loss changed his personality. And at first he is angry and confused, but through Baymax he slowly learns how to heal and move forward.
So healing doesn't happen instantly.
No, it takes time. The film shows that healing is a process, not a shortcut.
How
I
about you?
also think this film sends a
Yes.
soft message. It shows that technology can support emotional healing, not only physical strength like that.
Yes, Baymax is like emotional support, not just a robot.
Yunus, how about the Batman?
In the Batman, focuses on trauma and obsession with justice. Bruce Bruce Wayne childhood trauma shapes everything he does.
Yeah.
He fight crime not only to protect the city, but also to deal with his own pain and his anger.
So justice become personal.
Yes. At first, his idea of justice is driven by darkness and revenge.
And that is dangerous because the film shows that trauma can lead to extreme action if it's not reflected.
That's why Batman feels very different from the traditional hero. He is still searching for meaning, right?
Though these three films share something in common, people think.
Yes, all of them talk about emotional pain.
And how that pain influences his choices and actions.
And heroism becomes very personal and internal.
So the fight isn't always against villains.
Sometimes the real fight is against fear, grief, and guilt.
And learning how to live with those feelings.
Thanks for answering, Dimas. So today, heroism is not about physical strength or winning battle. It is about facing emotional pain, accepting responsibility, and continuing to move forward despite weakness. And we move to theory segment. From literary studies, with theory help us understand this film better and where these theories come from.
I think postmodernism comes from literary and cultural theory in the late 20th century. It appears when people start to question big ideas like absolute truth and perfect heroes. In postmodern stories, characters are not perfect. They are broken, confused,
Mhm.
and sometimes contradictory.
So, how is postmodernism relevant to superhero films today?
It is very relevant because modern superheroes are no longer ideal figures. Like we can see in Logan, the hero is old, tired, and full of regret. This fits postmodernism because the film breaks the idea of the heroic ending. Heroism becomes uncertain and personal.
That's interesting. Now, let's move to trauma studies, where this theory come from.
Trauma studies comes from psychology and literary studies. This theory became important after war and social crisis when scholars try to understand how trauma affects memory and identity. Trauma studies focus on how painful experiences can shape a person's actions and thoughts.
Why is this theory important for superhero films?
Because many modern superheroes are driven by trauma. In the Batman, Bruce Wayne's childhood trauma strongly influenced his obsession with justice, and in Logan, trauma comes from loss, violence, and aging. And this theory helps us understand their action emotionally, not just morally.
Nice answer. Now, Yunus, what about posthumanism? Where this theory come from?
Because humanism comes from philosophy, science, and cultural studies. Question that idea that humans are completely separate from technology and machines. This theory become important in the digital and technological age.
Why is posthumanism relevant to Big Hero 6?
Because the heuristic shows a close relationship between human and technology. Example is in BMX. BMX is not just a robot. Irrigation care and healing and maybe emotional connection. As humanism helps us to understand, to see that technology can be part of humanity, not just a tool.
So, if we put all of this together, what do these theories help us understand?
They help us see superheroes as complex characters, not perfect icons.
And they also explains emotions, why emotion and trauma are central in modern superhero stories.
They saw how technology changes the way we understand humanity.
Thanks for answering, Yunus. So, these theories help us as superhero films not only as entertainment, but also as cultural stories shaped by history, society, and human experiences. And we move to next segment, digital media and criticism. These films are not only watched in cinemas, they are also very popular on social media. What role does digital media play in life of these films?
I think digital media keeps the discussion alive even after the movie ends because people share their opinions on social media, like their reviews and join online discussion. So the film becomes part of everyday conversation and not just a one-time experience.
So social media help us extend of the meaning of the film.
Yet it allows audience to respond, agree or disagree with the film.
Interesting, but digital media also bring criticism, right? Yunus?
Right? Yes, definitely. Digital media make criticism more visible. For example, the Batman is often criticized for being too dark and pessimistic. Some people feel it too heavy and emotional intense.
All right. Do you think this criticism is negative thing?
Not always, but criticism shows that people are emotional involved. They care enough to talk about the film.
Thanks for answering. Nabil, how do you see criticism in in this context?
I think criticism is actually a sign of relevance. When people criticize a film, it means the film makes them think and feel something. If a film is ignored, it usually means it has no impact.
So criticism part of cultural conversation.
Yep, it helps films stay meaningful in society.
Thanks for answering, Nabil. So digital media doesn't only promote films, but also create space for discussion, debate, and reflection. That is why contemporary superhero films continue to live beyond the screen. And we move to relevance of for young people in Indonesia. Why are these films important for young people in Indonesia today? Why should young people not only watch them, but also talk about them?
I think these films are so important because mental health issues are very close to young people today. Many students feel stress because of his studies, future plans, and social pressure. But when we see heroes like Logan, Batman, struggling emotionally, we realize that feeling tired or broken is normal.
So the heroes feel similar to real people like me.
Yes, it's very similar. They shows that it is okay to feel weak sometimes,
Hmm?
and that asking for help does make you look weak, you know.
Yes. How about you,
I
Dimas?
think I agree with Nabil because in Indonesia, mental health is not talked about openly and it still feels taboo. And because of this movie, we can open conversations that are usually avoided.
Yes, and because it comes from popular film, young people or teenagers feel more relatable and maybe more comfortable to talking about it.
That's a strong point, Yunus. Now let's talk about technology. Why is this topic relevant for young people in Indonesia today?
I think
Dimas.
it's because young people today live very close to technology. Like they use smartphones, social media, and digital platforms every day.
Hmm?
Especially in literacy, show that technology can help people, but it can also be dangerous if used without responsibility.
So the message is not about technology is a bad thing.
Yes, exactly. The message is that technology depends on human values, and this is very relevant in Indonesia, where technology grows faster than ethical discussion.
How about you, Nabil?
I also think technology in Big Hero 6 feel
Mhm.
emotional,
Mhm.
not cold. Baymax shows care, empathy, which is something young people need today.
Mhm.
Yes, technology is one part of human life, not part from it.
Yunus, in the Batman, how about justice and social issues? Why are they important for young people in Indonesia today?
Development talk about justice in a very complex way.
Mhm.
It shows that fighting crime is not always simple or clean.
Yes.
Young people in Indonesia are becoming more aware of social injustice, social inequality, corruption.
So the film connect with social reality.
Yes, it shows that justice needs reflection, not only anger or violence.
I think this is important because many young people want change, but they also need to understand responsibility.
And empathy. Justice without empathy can become dangerous.
All right. So from mental health, technology to justice, these films speak directly to young people lives.
They help young people understand their emotions.
And they encourage responsibility in using technology.
And also they invite critical thinking about society.
Thanks for answering us. So superheroes today are no longer perfect as idols. They are mirrors of our reality, helping young people in Indonesia understand themselves, their choice, and the world around them. And we move the next segment. Before we close this podcast, I would like to ask each other for one short final thought from Nabil.
For me, this film shows that the heroes are also humans.
Yes.
They feel pain, fear, hope, just like us. That's why contemporary superhero stories feel more real and meaningful.
And
Dimas.
for me, I think this movie reminds us that story shaped by our society and superhero movie today talk about mental health, technology, and social problems. They are not just entertainment, but reflection of our life.
How about you, Yunus?
From my POV, my perspective, modern heroism is very personal. Being a hero is not about winning fights,
Yes.
but about facing trauma and choosing to keep going.
Thanks for answering. To conclude, contemporary superhero fiction shows us that popular culture is not only about entertainment. It can also be a space for reflection, discussion, and understanding for war. Through the film Logan, Big Hero 6, and The Batman, we learn that modern heroes are not perfect people. They are heroes because they struggle, they feel pain, they carry responsibility, and this film reminds us that being a hero today doesn't meaning always winning. It's mean facing trauma, making difficult choice, and continuing to move forward. Thank you for listening our podcast. Thank you guys for joining to discussion with me, and I'm signing out.
Thank you.